and welcome to Series 2, Episode 6 of That's So Fashion. I'm Chris.
And I'm John.
And this month, this episode, we are joined by a very special guest, my sister Lisa.
Hello.
We're going to introduce her momentarily, but we're just going to have a nice little debrief and about things that how fashion can interact with us and make us feel better. So for the benefit of the people who are not perhaps watching the video or have known you from other things that John and I have done, would you like to introduce yourself?
Okay, so hello all. My name is Lisa Wincott. I am Christopher's older sister. My background is very different, so fashion is not my thing. But I'm actually a fire investigator. I work for London Fire Brigade. I'm also a mum of two. I love motorcycles. I like to keep fit. I have a beautiful girlfriend. Amazing family. So in a nutshell, basically, that's me. That's my intro.
Great. That's is a far cry from fashion.
Yes.
Which I love.
But it doesn't mean that fashion can't influence you in different parts of your life.
Exactly.
And I think that's what we're here to find out.
Very much that. But my sister, if you haven't been following the previous episodes or the socials, my sister actually was a model for John.
Yes.
At our recent Sustainable Fashion Week show.
Which was fantastic. And,
props. So how did that make you feel?
It was really unusual because I'd never done anything like that before. It was like so far out of what I would normally do. So when you'd mentioned that John might ask and then you asked if I'd do it, I was like super excited. I said, you know what? Like I've never done anything like that before. I'd like to get involved, see what it's about behind the scenes. And I knew like bits and pieces of fashion because obviously like you being my brother. So I was like, let's just do it, dive right in. I was really excited to see your creations and I was very much happy to wear with whatever you decided that you wanted for that look. For me, I'm pretty open, pretty comfortable. But in addition to that, it's meeting other people and how it actually works.
Yeah.
So I was like really super excited to do that and get involved. I wasn't completely sure what to expect.
Yeah.
But then once we got there, trying on your creation, which was amazing, and I was looking at all the other things. I was like, wow, it's like really different, very different to like my style, or my typical style of what I'm used to. And then the practice part was really fun, and actually doing the walk itself, and it was so well received, and there was so many people in there, and the church was massive, and it was beautiful anyway. It was a little daunting. Oh my God, walk with all these people, but I had such a good time. It was such good fun, and obviously seeing your creations, but there was other designers there as well.
Lots of beautiful
and
work
seeing
there.
Those creations, it definitely ignited something else in me because I'd already been thinking about my own fashion, creativity and expressing myself. So being in that environment definitely ignited another spark, one for a better word. Of maybe opening myself up in that way.
Oh, I love that.
So what does that mean though? So we'll come back to like how amazing you were and how easygoing you were in a moment, but you're you're in this big room, there's lots of people in there. You said you were seeing all the different fashions and you felt that it really just, ignite, as you say, to use your words, ignited another spark in terms of your interests in your own personal fashion. So were you feeling that you want to sort of, do a refresh? Are you doing a full makeover? Or were you just thinking you'd shop in your own closet and start wearing things differently? Do you want a whole new look? Like where has that brought you? What are you thinking?
I think, so I'm really quite androgynous in kind of like what I wear. No, not necessarily mass presenting or female sort of presenting. It's more about how I feel comfortable in my clothes. And a lot of the time I'm in uniform.
Right.
That's true.
But I always sort of like wear sort of like baggy things and shirts and things like that, and I love that for me. But I'm thinking more like of opening up, as well as sort of almost masculine clothes, if you like, to add more femininity to it. So it's like a bit of both. So it's androgynous, but maybe some days I want to be leaning towards more feminine, and then other days, more masculine. So there's not an absolute stamp of kind of what I am, and just explore more, I think, with types of clothing and colour, and just kind of like make the most of it. Like I was saying to my brother, I want to maybe start wearing some more hats and maybe like better fitting clothing, or maybe suits, that are quite masculine, but with like a feminine touch.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sort of things like that. So it's just opened up my imagination rather than just, oh, I'm just going to shove on a pair of jeans, shove on this jumper.
Sure.
You know, what else can I do? You know, and I love my hair, so it's like, what can I do that really emphasise that?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
like my
You have
eyes
great
and
hair.
things like that as well. So kind of like in that way, being
Oh,
more
that's-
fun.
But
That's really exciting.
It is really exciting, and I think like we all go through different stages in our life where things influence us or otherwise, or you know, you feel like you say you're in uniform very often, so sometimes it's just easy to, you know, take off that uniform, which is your day to day, and just put on something comfy because you've been on your feet all day. And I
Right.
think that is fair enough, but also there can be a different side of it where you are thinking about, you know, where am I at my point in life, where am I in my like mental state at my point in life, and how do I want that to reflect me, but also sort of present that to the outside world too. And sometimes we really care about that and sometimes we don't. And so if you're feeling you've got this new change, you know, like you say, showing off your hair, showing off your eyes, thinking about hats, different like, you know, suits, like that can be really fun to start actually experimenting with yourself and playing with that side that you might not normally, you know, give any attention to. I love that.
Yeah,
So
it's
I
we'll
think it's really
do a little makeover montage.
no, that's so apt. We should absolutely do that. I find it very exciting because obviously being my older sister, I've kind of seen every iteration of you so far. I really do feel and get the sense that there's a new era of fashion freedom for you, where there's no you know, one way of doing things, but you're really like, oh, I've never done this before, let's try it.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
like,
I've not worn that type of thing before, let's try it. You know, like you're really kind of opening up. Do you think that doing the fashion show and walking for John and seeing just the huge, because the amount of designers there, each of them as far away from each other as possible in terms of aesthetic, do you think seeing that has really, I know you said it's kind of ignited it in you, but do you think that's given like a new perspective and a new lease of life on, oh, I didn't even think about that, or why I could try this?
No, I mean, it absolutely has, you know, and also to experiment with clothing rather than just like going into a shop, oh, that looks nice, I'll buy that. So it's opened up that. So like when I said to you, well, actually, no, I'm interested in maybe, well, how do you sew?
Yeah.
You know, how do you put the materials together? Like, how would you do that? It sparked that, you know,
Yeah.
because,
Oh, I love that.
yeah, so it's kind of, do you know what? I wouldn't actually mind going fabric shopping, picking out some fabric, have an idea of what I'd like, and then learn how to sew and then create something like you guys have,
Yeah.
and then just wear that and just be, you know, I think definitely as well, like this era in my life, you know, my age, I'm in my 40s now, my children are grown, you know, that I just want to really express myself without like a care in the world. Like I just don't have any like inhibitions in that way. So it's definitely sparked something to learn how to maybe create my own with you guys. And
So I think that's amazing, first of all, but also as we're all in a similar age bracket here, I feel like I'm hearing a lot of this. I've got a very dear friend, relevant who it is, but she is probably close to your age, Lisa. 2 kids, younger than yours, but self-sufficient. And we've done a few, you know, visits around shops where they live out of London and in London. It's like, you know, I and she said, like, I feel like 10 years ago when my kids were really young, I kind of lost my own sort of sense of identity. And that was okay. It's like she says, like, I wanted to be the best mother I could be. I wanted to look after the household. I took time off work so I could do that. Like, that's who I wanted to be. So I really applaud that, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But she said, like, kids are more self-sufficient now. I've got more time. I've been working again. I've got some money. I want to buy some new clothes. I want to redo some of my existing clothes. And I kind of want to figure out who I am in my 40s going into my 50s in like 5 years. Like, I want to figure that out.
Good for her.
But it is. But I think it's not uncommon. And then I was speaking to a few other people and having very similar conversations. And I think working in a fashion space, I become more approachable for that discussion because I know everything, even though I don't. But it's like
No, but I get the same thing when people know that you work with clothing. They
exactly,
want
and
your advice. Yeah,
right. And I'm very happy to help and give. But
Yeah.
I find that really interesting, and I think like you don't need to reinvent the wheel, but you want to make yourself feel great again. Like, we should begin here. Let's go look at this. Let's go look at that, and try and help that person I think it's always important to find a sense of who they feel they want to be and where their confidence is in what they already have, and then branch out from there. Because I feel like we've all know people who have, thrown out all their clothes, gone out and buy all new stuff, and they realize that's not really what they want. And it's just like, well, you've wasted all this money and you're not really...
And lost some really good pieces.
But also you're not really being true to yourself. So I think it's quite exciting. And I didn't realize that you really were also thinking about buying fabric and making. So that is something we can definitely do. But
I find that's just really, really exciting. Like I said, because I've known every iteration of you so far, to seeing this level of freedom in you for coming to fashion, and to the extent that you're like, actually, I want to try making it myself. Oh, that fills me with such joy, because there is such an untapped vein of limitless expression in when you make them. Because you can literally do anything. I mean, we've had this conversation 1,000 times over.
Absolutely.
But, I'm all about self-expression in fashion. It's like dopamine dressing. That's my whole thing. But I mean, even the way John and I are dressed today, we've kind of synchronized again. John's got this glorious, for those that aren't watching, John's got a glorious jumper on that's got the 5 of the Care Bears on.
Yes.
Amazing, glorious colours like the pinks, the greens, the yellows, and so on. And I'm actually wearing the Tweety Pie jumper I made for the Sustainable Fashion Week last year, which is incredibly comfortable. So we've kind of both gone for like a cartoon / whimsical look today, which is, of course, we've both done it on the same day. But that's kind of what I mean. Like, it's just something. Oh, I'm feeling in this mood today, so I'm going to wear this thing. And I just so happen to have made what I'm wearing, but
I did not. But it is from a Canadian brand who I love, so I'm supporting, back home.
Yeah, but it's still a form of self-expression, right?
Oh, yeah, no, of course.
You're feeling like, obviously, an element of whimsy to you today, and you've thrown that on, and it's absolutely stunning, and I absolutely love it. But that's what I mean. Like, you could really find your own with sewing and making clothes, and then before you know it, say 6 months' time, you've got this backlog of clothes that you in your wardrobe that you've made that suits whatever mood you want.
And to be honest, sorry to cut you off, but it's not even necessarily about what you've made from scratch. As we were just talking sustainable fashion week, if you are learning to sew and you are seeing things, whether that be on TV, in Vogue, in your mind, whatever it is, I'd really love, you mentioned a suit. So if you were thinking, I want a suit and I want something a little bit more feminine, there's no reason why you can't take something that already exists, that is, in air quotes, a man's suit, and use your budding knowledge of sewing to shape it to your body and give it that feminine edge that you feel that you want. Maybe you'll look back at that in 6 months or 6 years' time and think, oh, I can't believe I did that. I'm so much more advanced now. But you got to start somewhere.
Everyone starts somewhere.
Right? And if you've got an idea...
I look back on some of the stuff I made at the beginning of when I first started sewing all those years ago.
Don't we all?
And think, why did I do it that way? Obviously, you learn in knowledge, right? So, like,
of
in
course.
time, and you these little tidbits build up and create a picture of skill. But it's very that. Like, I know some of the pieces in your wardrobe that you would love to wear again, but either they're not fitting how you want them to fit, or like you're just like, oh god, that's slightly too big, or that's slightly too small. But you could alter them or adapt them.
That's what takes me back also as well. So during your fashion show that I walked with other designers, as well as yourselves, I was also inspired. There was another designer there, I think her name's Danny, I can't remember her last, and she had all the denim collection.
Oh yeah, Danny Jobs.
And
shout out to Danny.
Yeah. Hi Danny. And I love denim, I love baggy jeans, and I have so many pairs of jeans, and I was thinking, not all of them fit or I'd feel comfortable in or whatever, and I was inspired by that, and I thought, well, I could learn, I'm inspired, obviously want to learn how to sew. I could take quite a lot of these and make my own unique baggy jeans with a spin or whatever, like what you're saying, and,
absolutely,
adjust, and so that did occur to me. But previously, before really being exposed to what you guys do, because unless you see that in the world, you don't really think about it.
No.
As you know, my world is very far apart. It's very science and fire.
Yeah.
But then I was like, wow, I could make that, and I'm really excited about getting all that material together and then learn how to do it and then create something that's like that it's only unique to me, and I love that idea.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yes.
It's so funny you mentioned that. So I was on the phone with my mum actually just maybe 2 or 3 days ago. And
hello, John's mum.
Hello. And I was telling her about a project I'm doing for somebody else at the moment. I'm making a gown for somebody, and it has an internal kind of like corset bustier thing, which a lot of evening wear does. And she was like, oh, that's so funny. I was just on the third floor and I was looking through, you know, something else, trying to find whatever she was trying to find. She's like, and I came across all these old bustiers that you made. And I was like, couldn't think what they were, because I've done corsetry and other stuff when I was in school, but I was thinking, what are you talking about? All of that's with me here in London. And she's like, you know, all those denim ones. And I was like, oh. And so the first thing I ever made when I was, say, 15, beyond like, I don't know, learning how to sew and taking old felt and cutting out like miniature stuff for like, you know, fun and just experimenting, was a family friend had compiled between like everyone they knew, I don't know, 40 pairs of jeans, and the daughter, who was a friend of mine, knew that I was learning to sew properly, not just like self-taught, and wanted me to make them a slip cover for a chair out of all these old jeans.
Oh wow!
Which we did. I'll show you a picture of it later.
Yeah, please do.
And it was super fun. But so we made this slip cover, and I had all these old jeans, which they were like, you can just take them, and I felt that I had gained some skill from sewing this thing without really knowing what I was doing. And I took them all apart and I turned them into all sorts of other stuff. Nothing for myself, but I was doing like a talent show at school, and you know, I made like a series of garments, outfits, whatever, and it was all of it was made out of all of this discarded denim, which was super fun. So I know it's not quite what you're saying, but I just find it really coincidental that it was just a couple of days ago we were having this conversation, and now today you're saying about all your old jeans. Like, it is a really good place to start.
It is, but also, how much denim is there in the world? There's a lot of jeans around that people either throw in the bin, or they'll just discard in some way, like church or whatever.
Well, yeah, if something rips and someone's like, well, I can never wear this again, and they don't even give them away, they just toss them.
Exactly.
Yeah,
or even like reclaimed denim, like from, like
absolutely,
all of that stuff,
absolutely,
offcuts or randoms or end of rolls, whatever. Like, there's so much of it. Why wouldn't we start there?
Yeah.
You know, why wouldn't you create that? But I love the idea of you taking all of this stuff that you like, living sustainably, and like you've got all these glorious jeans. I know exactly the ones you're talking about, and having that desire to turn that into something that's going to bring you joy because you've made it and you're not wasting something you love really fills me with
and the sustainable things. Obviously, seeing what you guys have done, that such amazing creations and that's being transformed from something else. And I love that idea, and I just, you know, I want to express myself and think, what have I got that can be changed and express myself through fashion, because it's not something I've ever done before, and
it's that's so nice.
It is. It's really nice. What do you so you were inspired by, you know, the designers in the show and walking the catwalk and living outside of, like you say, your normal scientific bubble. What do you think, or where do you see this fashion journey taking you?
I mean, I don't know, that's a thing. I feel like I'm just right at the beginning part of it. I just feel like I'm more expressive, more out of my shell, more open to trying new things, being exposed to these, you know, to the show. And I think it's an age thing, like we were discussing. The fact my children are grown, you know, established my career, all that sort of thing. It's like, what can I do now that makes me sort of feel good? You know, I think
that's wonderful.
I think genuinely it'd be a new skill that I would like to learn. I think I'd enjoy it. I've recently discovered in my 40s that I'm actually quite creative, as I didn't realise I was. I took up painting randomly, and turns out I wasn't too bad, and I was like, and
She's very good.
I actually really enjoyed it. So I was like, oh wow, you know, I've got a creative side, and I think I'd like to explore that.
Oh,
so
that's so beautiful.
Know,
that's really wonderful, Lisa. And there's a lot of creativity to be found in self-expression through clothing. And so I think, you know, working with what you've already got, sort of, you know, almost gonna, I don't know, styling yourself into not necessarily a new you, unless that's what you want, but just the kind of current you that aligns with your mental space and your physical space is a really wonderful thing. And I love a bit of shopping. I also like making things. For me, it's always got to be a good balance. I know people who almost exclusively refashion and make their own clothes and would never ever really consider buying something new. I'm not that person, but I do respect that. But I think finding the balance that works for you and not being afraid to be expressive and is quite good. And actually, I don't think you always have to be throwing yourself out of your own comfort zone.
Exactly, yeah.
I think sometimes you may love the way something looks on somebody else and think, oh, I really want to try that. And you might force yourself to leave the house wearing something that maybe you wouldn't normally, and find that you'll come home later that day thinking, well, this was amazing, or this really isn't for me, but I'm glad I gave it a go.
Exactly, yeah.
And you just got to play around with it.
That's what I love about it. It's very transformative, like in whatever way it emerges. And it's, to echo what you said about you're not transforming yourself into something new.
No, just enhancing.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yes,
It's
which is amazing.
Something extra, something that's maybe slightly different.
Yeah, I kind of see it as, again, I know I keep saying it, but I've seen every iteration of you, but I see it as this is you allowing your creative chrysalis to crack into the butterfly that we know it to be, because
that's nice. Yeah.
because I've always seen the creative vein in you. Like you've always been very good at, like, you know, making something from nothing or putting random things together, or you know, yes, you've discovered that you have this incredible painting talent, which is wonderful. She's doing me a painting, so to get your orders in now, people.
Ooh, okay, we'll hear about that later.
for my picture wall.
Nice.
And so to see now that you're going, oh, actually, like giving yourself the props and giving yourself the admiration, I should say, maybe, or appreciation, that actually I can and want to be this creative, is really, really exciting and thrilling for me, because it's like I've finally, this thing that I've seen in you for so long is blossoming, and it's just really exciting and really it's fun for me to watch, for a start, as someone who does work and making your own stuff, you know. I think it's very, very exciting. I think doing things that are outside of your comfort zone, i.e. walking for John, I think that's like a snowball effect.
Yeah.
And it's made you want to do things quicker.
It was so much fun.
Oh, I'm so glad.
Yeah.
Well, I have to say, you mentioned about you'd never done anything earlier. You mentioned you'd never done anything like that before, and you were very happy to do whatever. Which, when we spoke on the phone, you did say, like, put me in a dress, put me in a suit, like whatever you want, I'll do, which I really appreciate, because again, not everybody's so willing to do that.
No.
So that was amazing, and you looked great. But also, I do wonder, like. No, I shouldn't say I wonder. I feel like you're in a space where you want to be more experimental with yourself, which is amazing. But that also maybe come through a little bit, even in the conversation that we had, i.e., I'll wear whatever you want. Put me in anything. I'm happy to just be there.
Yeah.
So, and then you said you walked around the room and you were seeing different things, and you mentioned Danny's stuff, and she did a great job. I mean, she's sort of known for her denim repurposing and refashioning, and she's made a whole brand out of it for herself, which is amazing. But also, it's nice for someone like yourself to see what you can do.
Yeah.
And I just think, you know, doesn't have to be, obviously now we're not doing it on set, but like, if you ever wanted to have a play and try on, I've got tons of things that I've made, some of which you've seen at the show. Yeah. If you ever just wanted to think, like, could I get away with this? Does this feel like me?
Yeah,
and we can always have like a
I
little
love that.
thing.
That'd be great fun.
Because like that's just like, you know,
Definitely.
why not just experiment with things that you wouldn't normally have access
Exactly
to?
that, yeah.
Right? Like I know you loved that lace suit that I made.
Oh, I love that suit.
Yeah.
And you'd said to me even in Eden that you
desperate
would
for it,
totally
aren't
wear that.
I am so desperate for
Which
it,
we can always make arrangements for.
Yeah.
I told you. And I did mean it though. But, you know, again, like maybe, I don't know, you correct me if I'm wrong, but maybe that's something you wouldn't have ever thought of before.
Well, no, because it's seeing it.
Right.
And I was like, oh, wow.
Right.
I love
like,
that.
and
Well,
you,
if you're not from that world, you're not going to immediately have
no,
a reference.
exactly. And that's a really good example, especially because it was in navy. I've done versions of that in other colors that read more feminine, that were for like female presenting, very feminine people. So that kind of lends itself, right? But being a navy suit, but being out of a lace material, which very traditionally feels very feminine. I mean, even dating back like hundreds of years, yes, of course, men have used it, but it's always, I think, been a very delicate, very ladylike fabric,
very much so.
right? But made in, you know, in the sort of fashioned into a shawl collar, very masculine shaped tuxedo. I I think you do get a really nice blend. Again, Lisa, like what you were saying, of that sort of masculine and feminine together.
Blending them.
And maybe that is a really good place for yourself to
Yeah,
start.
I think that's why I really liked it, because
That's
it
a
is,
great point.
you know, I don't like to be in one way or the other, you know, and it really was in the middle. And,
Yeah.
and it was so gorgeous. And I was just thinking,
Well,
oh,
thank you.
you know, what could I, you know, maybe like a nice shirt, or you know, or maybe like maybe a nice vest or something. I don't know. It just kind of set my head wild. Whereas, yeah, ordinarily that's not something I would see. It's only because I was exposed because the show.
Right,
I was
well,
like, look at that suit.
Exactly,
you
and that's
know.
why I'm thinking, like, if there's other things that you've never necessarily been exposed to or never really thought of for yourself, then it's fun to just have a play and try them on, because otherwise,
Yeah.
like, you just don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
even going to, like, I don't know, an expensive department store and grabbing like 10 things that you'd be like, oh, I can't even afford this. But like, they don't know that. Like, try them on, see how you feel in it. Do you like the
Yeah.
look of it? Do you love the shape? Like, take a picture of yourself, try and recreate it, or try and find it somewhere else. Like, there's so many ways you can
There's
play
so
it.
many ways. That's why I love it. That's why I'm finding it very exciting, because it's limitless, the options that are
And
before
I
you
feel
right now.
excited because
That's
wow, because
good.
like, you know, like I say, so many times it's not something I was exposed, but now I am just like, you know,
Well, what else
can we
can I
try?
have,
And
and how
this is
far
it's
can I
really
go?
fun.
Yeah.
What also I quite liked is, so we're talking obviously about making things and refashioning things.
Yes.
But that we haven't even begun to discuss the fact that you're also very like we're becoming more interested in the styling of it,
Yeah.
because was it the St Christopher's Hospice one? I
Mhm.
can't remember who with the I'm terrible with names, but the girl who looked like Rihanna.
Yeah, I know who you mean.
Yeah,
She modeled last year as
that-
well.
my
She's
God.
lovely.
like that suit.
Yeah,
was,
she looked great.
it was
She looked
piece-
amazing
she
last
looked
year too, that military
she's,
thing.
It's impossible for
Yeah.
her.
Yeah.
I
to
went
not
to
look
speak
amazing.
to her and tell her like how
Yeah,
amazing
she's
that was.
such a
Yeah.
nice girl too. huh?
Truly.
Yeah.
But the clothes that she was wearing were pre-existing, 'cause it was from a charity shop. But she'd styled it in such a
Yeah.
cool way,
Yes.
with the belt over the blazer.
Absolutely.
Stunning.
Yeah.
No notes. 10 out of 10. Well
Right.
done.
And
Well,
just
Yeah.
to have the eye though to think, okay, I'm going to pull this, I'm going to pull that, I'm going to put it together, and it's just going to work.
exactly that.
It was such a look.
It was,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
And then the attitude has to come with it too.
Oh, 100%.
Granted, like it was part of a fashion show, and so maybe you're giving it more, but it needs to be there.
But that was her expressing.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what I'm talking about. So you seeing how someone's taking things you wouldn't necessarily have thought to put together, and you're
Yeah.
like, oh, hang on, how does that translate to me? What can I put together that I have?
Yeah.
Like, you know, it doesn't have to be a blazer over a belt over a blazer, of course, but like thinking of accessories different to their original
Yeah.
purpose.
And that's what the thing is. Like, that is because I remember speaking to her. I went
Yeah.
to speak to her because I was,
Mm.
you know, with that outfit as
Yeah.
well. And again,
Yeah.
it's, you know, going back to that, igniting that, you know, oh wow, you know, what could I do? And
Yeah.
in terms of like playing with different things up there, it's wonderful.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good shout. She looked amazing.
She
I
did
look
totally agree
amazing.
with
Yeah.
that.
Definitely a standout from that collection.
No,
I
it's
think.
very
Yeah.
true. And I was having a conversation with somebody from a charity shop the other day who I'm doing some work with, and we were just talking about generally like in the past, where I come from, like we don't have charity shops on a high street the same way we do over here in the UK.
Yeah.
And so I didn't really understand that culture until I moved here.
Yeah.
And then for a good many years, for me, it was really just I'm clearing out my closet, or I'm moving from one flat to the other. I have less space now. I have to get rid of things. I don't want to get rid of them because I've collected them, or they're too good to get rid of, but people need, and I will just give.
Yeah.
And I was saying to this woman that I really just didn't have a good enough understanding of the like charity shop culture and picking things up and remaking things. The only unfortunate thing for myself is I am a very tall, very big person.
Yeah.
And I don't always get lucky finding things because often the smaller pieces are what are sold mostly, and those are what get turned over mostly, and that's what ends up in a charity shop. But it is, you know, seeing how they styled everything, seeing how you can really bring all of that to the table and look amazing as at the very minimum as a base for a start for an outfit. It's a really great thing to do, whether you're planning on taking it all apart, deconstructing it and remaking it into something else, or just adding it into part of your wardrobe so that you can breathe new life into what you're wearing and how you're feeling. I mean, it's a really, really what's the word? It's a very
Refreshing?
Yeah, but I was thinking it's more just something great to have at your fingertips, or just a resource to have at your fingertips.
No, you are right. But that brings me to mind of T, one of our previous guests,
Yes.
and one of my girls. Hey T, very similar to what she would do. She took off
Yeah.
the sleeve of a blazer,
Right.
put some glorious African print on it, and created a gorgeous sleeve and used the remnant of that fabric as a belt.
Yeah.
But the blazer itself was, I think, a charity shop purchase.
Right.
So she's taken something already, styled it in a different way with the belt,
Yes.
but also adapted it with this one sleeve.
Yeah.
So it's like combining all three of those things,
Yeah.
like resources, as you say. There's just no telling. So on your journey, we could do something similar where you go into a charity shop and go, oh, I love that jumper, but I'd quite like it if it had a collar. Well, let's put a collar on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Well, absolutely. And I was just going to say, sorry, before I lose the train of thought, one of the pieces that I made that was part of the collection was a coral dress, and it had like blue trim on it.
Yeah.
And the outfit, the actual item itself was from Farah, from the charity that we worked with. Hey, Farah. Anyway, it didn't really need much done to it. It just needed to be cleaned up. It was a really beautiful piece, very well made, that just needed a bit of love. So it really, that's all. But it wasn't enough to just tidy it up and showcase it. So I trimmed it with this really lovely blue cotton and like gold little sort of tassel trim, added multiple layers of it, and it all of a sudden made this coral thing pop, the blue, the contrast in color. But again, if you've got things, like if you had something in your wardrobe and you thought, you know what, I loved this, but I feel like it's just way too, I don't know, masculine, because you said you were thinking about that, right? It doesn't necessarily need to be recut, re-sleeved, although I love that idea, by the way. But it may be that there are other things, new buttons, new a trim that maybe wasn't on it, something in a different color that is more vibrant or more exciting, or where you're feeling you are mentally, like, I don't know, coral or orange or pink or I don't know, whatever it is. There are so many ways that you can refresh something in a minimal way in terms of effort and cost to make it feel completely different. And you think it shouldn't feel that different. All it's got is a bit of blue trim, and yet it's a completely
Well, it just presents different energy, doesn't
well,
it?
it does, and you would never know it was the same thing. Like it's
Exactly.
crazy how much that makes a difference.
Yeah, but I love that. But I know that
Yeah.
we're talking at the moment because it's November at the moment, so we're coming up to Christmas season, like party season, and we're going to a few of the same parties.
Yep.
So I'm in the process of making my outfit for it.
Ooh, I can't wait to see.
It's going to be glorious. And I'm going to make you one for it as well for one of the parties. And we were talking, and even this is fairly new for you, but I'm very excited by it. The fact that you now want to start looking at jumpsuits.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yes, the jumpsuit thing is like, because that's really quite feminine, but again, it can be like masculine. Again, somewhere in the middle.
Exactly.
And I want a jumpsuit, but I want it to be different, like something I don't even know what.
You want it to be a U jumpsuit, something
exactly
that blends
that.
the both worlds, and that's what I find
Yes.
exciting. And we were talking about, we were in the brainstorming session because I'm going to make her one, of what that would look like, and we're talking like, I know we always joke about it's my signature silhouette, as John would
I was
say.
just going to say, I mean, you were like the jumpsuit king.
Well, it's me.
You know,
I love
it's not Yves Klein Blue and a jumpsuit. Then
I'm absolute hoe for a jumpsuit. I bloody love them. But like even just the cut of it, like it could be a very masculine top, like over the shoulders with the collar, but then the shirt part, like the top part of the jumpsuit, can be very flowy in a fabric that's very feminine, and then the waist is cinched in, but then the trousers are back to being masculine again. And we're talking about having a stripe down the side in a different color.
Yeah, love that.
Because that then blends the two, and it really is playing around with fabric, texture, color, shape, form, and how you wear it.
Absolutely.
But the fact that you're like, next, I want this now. I want to do this now. But when I make the jumpsuit, I'll be making it with you because I want you to make part of it.
Which is really exciting.
Which is really because then you're wearing something that you've had a hand in making, and then that kickstarts your sewing journey. But I love that you can. There's so many ways that so far we've spoken about updating something from a charity shop, making something from remnants, making something new but in a different way with a new talent, styling. Like there's so many ways that you can express yourself fashion wise.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm absolutely thrilled, chomping at the bit to see what happens.
And it's just fun to just have fun with it. Like it's nice to know that you're in a space where you want to be more adventurous, or you want to be more fashionable, or you just like feel that you're in a new place in life, whatever that is. But then don't put up walls and boundaries right away, right? Like just think, okay, well, I'm just going to go with the flow. I'm going to try on all these things that I've already got. I'm going to decide what needs to be changed, what needs to be gotten rid of, what needs to be bought new, like whatever it is, like bolts of fabric, trying on other things. It's just fun to then just think it doesn't matter. And having that experiment and like seeing how it makes you feel, right? Like I think we all know there are certain things that when you put on make you feel great and make you feel not so great. Like
or
so
powerful.
yes, exactly, right?
Yeah.
And so just, playing around with that and figuring out what that actually means at this point in your life where you're thinking differently anyway is really exciting.
Is there anything that you have seen or you've, I know obviously you have someone in the family, me, hi, that's into fashion, kind of like exposed to stuff to you and so on. Obviously, you've worked with John, but is there anything that you think that that is on the peripheral of what you would like to try, but it's a little bit, you feel like maybe it's a bit too out there?
Ooh, that's a good question.
That is a good question. I think, being out there, again, it's been comfortable. I'm pretty comfortable with myself, and like I said earlier, definitely in my life where, without a care, really, I just want to express myself for me. So not necessarily because it's fashionable within the world, just because, for me, that's it feels good. And again, being inspired by from the pair of you and then other designers I've seen being involved obviously with yourselves, it's kind of like, oh, what can I do? And I think, maybe like I was saying about femininity, but maybe like more dresses, but not dresses in the conventional sense.
Nice.
Maybe like dresses with like a spin of masculinity, or I'm not even sure yet, but my head's just going crazy. And what I would say is that because worlds apart, but being exposed to it from yourselves and anyone like listening in here, that if you've not been exposed to it or you're just coming into it, I feel you, it's really quite exciting. Check it out, get involved, because it's, for me, it's definitely like, oh my God, wow, what is this?
Really opened like a chapter of your
it
identity.
has, it's opened a door, I think, that I didn't think,
amazing.
Before. If you'd said to me sort of 5-10 years ago, it's not something that would even be on my radar. It's completely different. And I think as well, given what I do as a profession, a lot of the time I'm filthy, I'm in fire gear and digging out, or I'm in uniform, or I'm at meetings, or I'm doing this, that and the other. Whereas when I'm not there, I want to be more expressive for me, for myself, and like, oh hey, and just without a care, and just so that's kind of through the influences of fashion, what I've been exposed to by yourselves, is definitely, and I'm going to keep going to, no pun intended, I mean, it's ignited that spark to create a bit more something else from that, and I'm just really excited by it. When you talk about that and then you talk about the suit, it's just, oh my God, that's so exciting. It's just opened up a whole new thing in my brain almost.
That's so like, to see you at the kickstart of that expressive identity journey is really like filling me with joy right now. It's just amazing. Like my mind, as soon everything you were just saying then about the mixing, doing everything with your own spin, like my brain went straight to, well, why not have a corseted jumpsuit that's hyper masculine everywhere else apart from the middle section, which is super feminine.
With the stripe. And I'm thinking, okay, so that creates a typical feminine silhouette, but everything else is hyper masculine. Yeah, or like the suit, maybe have like a corset kind of thing put in there.
Well, it's good. When we finish here, I'll show. I've got a few corsets right there I can show you.
We're brainstorming, guys. It's kicking off.
Exciting things.
But that's really interesting. And then, you were saying other things that are off limits. And then I was wondering, like, is there off limits in the sense that you would say, and I mean, you don't have to share if it makes you uncomfortable, whatever, but like, I would never show my shoulders, or I would never show my cleavage or my legs, like, because that's a different type of boundary that some people have that you might not be able to work through, which is totally valid and fair if that's how you're feeling. So it's less about, oh, I just don't like pink. It's more, I'm really uncomfortable seeing my upper arm, like, and I don't know if that's something that
I don't really have that. No,
Oh,
I mean, if you
good.
said that to me like 20 years ago, maybe, but
Sure.
now, no, like, have a shoulder out, maybe a little bit of cleave, bit of leg, it's, I don't have any of those kind of.
But that's good. I mean, at least that gives you a bit more of a free space to work. And I have to be honest, I do think it is a shame that not everybody feels that way, because we're all like beautiful people. But unfortunately, that's just not how life is, and some people just are uncomfortable.
I think also there is an element, and I know we've said it before, like when we touched on the fact that in the last episode that I was having a break because it was my 40th. I think once you cross that boundary, they called your FU40s for a reason. I'll keep the language clean.
Happy 40th birthday
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. It was an incredible time. We'll go into that another time. But I've partied, people. But when you get into that decade, there is an element of, I just don't care. I'm only doing me.
Yeah, as it
Yeah.
should be.
You know, so I think body hang-ups. I mean, I've never really had a body hang-up as such, but hang-ups tend to melt away. Boundaries tend to disappear. Like there is an element of freedom
Yeah.
in the expression, as we said at the very beginning about people of this age that we're in.
Yeah.
It's a common theme.
It's a real thing. Yeah.
So the fact that you're like, anything, let's go, let's try this. I want that.
Yeah.
Let's go here. You know, I find that very exciting. Welcome to the fashion gang.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
That's just a really great way to be, though. It really just will open doors. But we're talking about fashion and home sewing and learning and styling and all these things. But I'd like to think that it just opens doors in other ways. Like it shows off confidence in yourself in a way that you may not be outwardly presenting. It doesn't mean you don't have it, right? Which could lead, I don't know what to, but to somebody stopping you. Oh, I love this. Oh, that's so nice. Oh, I work here. Oh, come work for me. Or, you know, I do this. I don't know. It just puts you in a different spot on the map.
Yeah, well,
it?
energy goes to energy, right?
Yeah.
So when you're giving you're expressing your true self through whatever means this. Obviously now you're in your fashion era. When you express that and you hold it with such an energy, people respond to it. You know, because you're showing. I would be surprised if during this journey of you finding expressing yourself, if that didn't inspire someone else.
Oh,
to do the same
absolutely.
thing.
Oh, but I love the thought of that.
But even just this discussion, we don't know who's listening.
Well, quite so.
But that's why I say it could also very simply be you're wearing your new jumpsuit, you're looking amazing. Somebody says, "Oh, Lisa, you look, fab. Where did you get that?" And it's, "Oh, well, my brother helped me make it. We made it together, and then I, found this bustier at Selfridges, like whatever it is." And then they were like, "Oh, I've got to go out and I've got to get that look." It's very exciting.
But I love that. But that's paying it forward. So obviously I've been inspired by you guys. The design's been exposed to. But I love the idea of that.
Yeah.
Someone and inspiring someone else and paying that forward. Because it's just happy and positive, and I love it.
I know. I'm very much like you that way, and I think why not spread that positive energy and
I
just
couldn't agree more. Yeah.
lift people.
Yeah. Well, we've all been lifted in some way, so why not bring people with us?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it's so important, and it's a big part of life. And I think, at the moment there are a lot of things happening around the globe that are sad and difficult.
Yep.
And this isn't a political podcast. Don't worry. I'm just, you've got to think there are lots of things going on that are relevant to different people that aren't easy for different people for various reasons. And if you're able to just, brighten somebody's day or lift somebody a little bit or inspire somebody, I mean, that can go a long way.
Yeah, well, you don't have to necessarily get political to express the fact that in political times, fashion is a way of coping.
Oh, very much. A lot of big fashion movements have come out of. I mean, it could be anything. Punk new look.
Exactly.
I mean, Bauhaus. I mean, whatever you want to talk about. But
fashion responds.
Yeah,
it's a way of expressing ourselves.
it's true. It is very much part of our life, and I don't think a lot of people necessarily realize that. But it is. And we could do a whole episode.
We absolutely could.
We should do a whole episode.
We should do that. We absolutely should do
movements that have helped shape or change the world.
But it depends on the size, right? So you've got like political movements of like, this is what the world is doing. This is how fashion is responding. But then it's smaller to your world. Your world is this way, so your fashion is responding to that way.
No,
my world
absolutely.
is, I've got more time and money, so therefore I want to express myself. Or I'm in a different social circle, so I want to express myself. However it is,
Absolutely.
Fashion always responds to energy. So I think the fact that you especially, but the fact that we're on that journey is great.
Oh, absolutely.
But I think that's probably a good place to end the episode.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Do you think? On a positive?
Oh, I think a positive is always a good place, but then that's just me.
Well, I'm there with you. We're just a couple of positive peeps.
Yeah.
We're gonna say. No, but that was incredible. Thank you so much for being our guest.
Oh, thank you for the
Yes,
invite.
and-
It's great. Thank you.
Yeah, just for being honest and just going with the flow.
Yeah, and expressing even a smidge of what you're learning about yourself at the moment in a fashion sense. So I think that's I echo John. I think someone listening may potentially take some reassurance in the fact that they're doing it with you. So
Love that.
that's great. But thank you very much for listening. The next episode will also have some glorious guests. It will be the final episode of the year.
I can't believe we're approaching so soon.
We're already back in December.
Oh my
the
God,
next
it's
one.
already November.
I know.
Ugh.
And then we're going to be in season 3. of That's So Fashion.
Well, you're welcome.
You're so welcome.
Stay tuned.
But no, thank you very much for coming along this journey with us as always, and let us know what you think of the episode, and if anything in this episode that we've spoken about has touched your hearts or a nerve in some way, reach out. We'd love to know your thoughts on it. And thanks again so much to my sister Lisa, who has graciously joined us. And that's it really.
I know, I think that sounds good.
It will all be on socials as normal. But yes, so thank you very much for joining, and see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.